Okay, one of my favorite tools that we learned about in Statistics 2 this semester has to do with a regression analysis. A regression analysis is a statistical wizardy way of saying, of making a prediction, seeing the future, to predict one set of data from another set of data. And I chose to pick on one of my favorite sports, which is baseball, in terms of where I've got my data for the study. And this is all made up data. This isn't real. But in this case, what we are hoping to be able to do is to predict the amount of home runs someone's likely to hit based on the amount of steroids they actually do. So just having some fun with this. I'm not picking on anybody, but this is related to a time in baseball history when people did a lot of steroids and hit a lot of home runs. So that's what you have here. You have home runs on this column and steroids on this column, and the net effect of the regression analysis is to give us an understanding of how many home runs someone's likely to hit based on the amount of steroids they actually do. And so we will walk through how that kind of study is conducted. So the first thing you want to figure out is what kind of relationship exists between these two sets of data. And the most useful little tool for that right off the bat would be to take a look, to graph it out and take a look at it. So you go over to graphs, you go to legacy dialogues, you go to scatter plot, and we're going to scatter out this data. And over here, again, we want to make a prediction. That's our y-axis, and based on our steroid use, which is the x-axis, and we hit OK. So we have some data that, okay, if we look at it really good, we can kind of see there is a line or a linear relationship in this data. So we're going to go over to Analyze, Regression, and there's a linear regression, and that's the kind of analysis we are going to choose to do. There are other kinds of regression analyses, but we're going to pick linear here based on this scatter plot. So we're going to click linear. Again, our dependent variable and our independent variable. And we have all kinds of information here, okay? And before we get into that, I'm just going to go over and show there's a formula for doing this. And this formula is, this is going to give us the number of home runs that someone's likely to hit based on the amount of steroids they actually are doing. And the data we're going to use is going to come from this chart here, the coefficient chart. So our B here, the slope of the line, and our A, the y-intercept, okay, are going to come from down here. This would be the y-intercept, and this is the slope of the line. So there's other interesting information in this data. You have an R and an R square, which determine that there is a correlation between these two sets of data. And this kind of tells you how likely our data is to be accurate. So what you're looking for, hopefully, is a small number here. So, 3 or 2, but this is close to 8. So it's going to be just a little bit less accurate than if the number was lower. So again, we're going to go back down to this data. This represents the number of home runs that someone's likely to hit if they don't have any steroids at all. And then this kind of tells us how far we are away from that line in the scatter plot. So once we have this data, we're really ready to have some fun. Okay. So we open up Excel because we're going to do a simple calculation. And again, we're going to go over here and we're looking for this information here. We want to run this equation. So this is what we're looking for. This would be Y. And let's say someone did 68 milligrams of steroids in a given day. Okay, we put that y-intercept here, the number of home runs somebody's likely to hit if they didn't have any steroids at all. And then this is how far we are from the regression line. And so here's our equation. And that would be equal sum, okay, B times C plus D. In this case, that comes out to 38 home runs. So the future we're trying to predict with the regression analysis here, based on the amount of steroids that someone has done, is 38 home runs.